Nirvana, are you telling Ahmed what to write for your group? Okay. You don't have to write a complete sentence. Yeah. No. No, in note form, phrases, so you can say widespread fear, that, whatever, but you don't have to write a complete sentence, okay? Okay. Can we start? Are you ready? Good. Nora? Wow. They're ready. Yeah, just put it on the OHP, and it's here. The button is there. Okay. Right. Now let's listen. Let's listen to Nora's group. Are you still writing? Close. Just one word. Nora, just a second, please. You're done? Yara? Yes, Yara? You ready? Can we listen to her? Okay. Dina, come on. It's very long. Enough. Yes, Nora.
First, for science, the first one, make it possible to identify an individual's lifetime risk of cancer, heart attack, and other diseases. Second, improving quality of health care. There is a widespread fear that individuals' genetic information can be used against them, conducting genetic testing on employees without their permission.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next. Who would like to go next? Layla? Okay. No, you have to stop writing now. Yeah. Layla? From Ahmed H's group.
The step forward for science is that the genetic revolution made it possible to identify the individual's lifetime risk for cancer or heart attack or other fatal diseases.
Okay.
And the second one is genetic testing has enormous potential for improving healthcare in America.
What do you notice about this?
Heart attack.
Did you notice what I noticed?
Yeah.
HER4 and revolution. You know all these abbreviations? Okay, Layla.
The steps backward for civil rights are some genetic tests are conducted on the employees without their permission. Workers are threatened with dismissal unless they agree to the test.
Mm-hmm.
And a survey by the American Management Association found that there are a use of genetic testing for either job applicants or employees.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Basim.
Sorry, Basim is right. I think you have to move the whole thing just a little bit to the side. Yes. Okay.
As step,
Push up this.
step forward for science, a new era for medical science,
Okay.
improving healthcare, saving millions of dollars for employers and insurance, identifying an individual's lifetime risk of dangerous diseases.
I have a question about number 3.
Yes.
What do you think? Point number 3, saving millions of dollars for employers and insurance, was a step forward for science or backward for civil rights?
Backward.
Okay, can you explain why? Why has it in the wrong column? So you can help him explain why. Why should it be on the other side? It was given as an example for what?
Because applicants may be rejected from being here, but not
Excellent.
recruited, yes.
Excellent, because applicants may be rejected if they are. What is the word you read in the text? The word that means. Clap for Fady. Say it again, Fady. Even before I gave you the definition. Explain it to her. Okay, predisposed to illness or disease means what? Excellent. Prone to, or can you think of other words?
Potential.
Potential in a way, okay, or likely. Excellent, Yara. Likely to get the disease. Then employers don't really want them because they will cost them a lot of money in health care. Neither do insurance companies. So this point belongs to backward for civil rights. Okay, go on, Bess.
As a step backward for civil rights, new frontier for potential discrimination. Discrimination against employees in hiring and promotion, unequal opportunity for jobs, genetic information can be used against people, and denying one's right to compensation in work incidents.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, next group, Yara. Thank you very much.
The steps
You switched them.
backward. Yes.
That's interesting. Okay.
The steps backward for civil rights. First, using predictive genetics to identify in advance and then reject workers or policy applicants who are predisposed to develop chronic disease.
Excellent, Yara. I would like you please to explain predictive genetics from the reading. Yes, they can help you. Your group can help you. Come on, you know the word.
Predictive genetics اللي هي اللي هو examination أو medical regulation يعني
Medical prediction.
Listen to Karim. Predictive genetics. This is where they have there. Yes.
That makes illnesses in the future.
Okay, it comes from predict. You know predict, don't you? Okay.
What kinds of disease or
You said medical prediction, and I didn't hear.
Yes.
Sorry. Excellent.
Yeah, I said it.
Okay. There's another word I wanted you to explain, Yara. Chronic disease. Chronic disease.
Severe or severe?
We met this word before.
Yeah, severe disease.
Is it severe? Kind of
Lasts for a
permanent.
long time.
Okay. What did you say, Martez?
No.
Therefore, it.
Comes.
What is
It
the
comes
word
from
I want?
time to
Ahmed
time.
H. What is the word I need now?
Anonymous.
A disease that.
Yeah, it comes from time to time.
What's that the word?
Consequently.
No.
Renew.
Recycle.
It appears again and again.
Recall.
C. Recurs. Recurs. Okay. Okay, Yara. Number 2. Recall. She was close. She was close. And what is the meaning of recall? Like, repeat? Is this what it means? Here's the dictionary. It means remember. Yes. Yara?
Okay, the other step is individuals' genetic information will be used against them. Example, dismissal from work.
Thank you.
Okay. Steps forward for science. First, new genetic research may make it possible to identify an individual's lifetime risk of cancer, heart attack, and other diseases.
Therefore, can you elaborate on this? Why is this a good thing?
They can treat.
Why is this a step forward? Yes,
They
Martha.
can curb this disease or treat the workers.
Okay, good.
Okay, the other step is genetic testing. It has enormous potential for improving healthcare.
Very good. So they're really related.
Yes.
This is what it means. Okay, thank you very much. This was excellent. Now, let me ask you for some of the words that you met as you were reading. What was the adjective which means likely to happen, possible to happen? Excellent. Okay. What are the different forms of discrimination that were given as examples there?
Racial, ethnic, age, and sexual.
Okay, good. Which paragraph?
Second. Third.
Fourth, actually.
Starting first.
The paragraph beginning with thus. Excellent. Now, what is the verb that was used that means to get rid of patients' fears?
Eliminate.
Excellent. Say it again, Fedi.
Eliminate.
Eliminate fears. Excellent. What is the example? Who can explain to me the specific example that was given in the second column? In the first two paragraphs, please read them again quickly and explain to me the example that was provided about what genetics, how it is a form of discrimination there, how it is serving the employer and not the employee.
At least one worker was threatened, right?
Yes,
Okay.
Dismissal unless he agreed to the test. The agency charged.
Okay. Why did they want him to take the test, Yara? What?
To know if he carry any chronic disease or
Okay.
predisposed to it. And then
You have to go to the next paragraph and tell me why they wanted to conduct this test on these workers. Why?
As a result of carpal tunnel syndrome.
And before that, why were the genetic tests being run on the employees?
For a compensation.
Excellent.
Second compensation.
Because? Tell us, Fedi.
Because they seek a compensation.
Okay. They were asking for a compensation for what?
For a
The
kind-
employees, the workers.
Yes, for a kind of disease they acquired
Okay, because they were working as?
as keyboard operators.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. So this is why the employers wanted to conduct these tests and prove what?
if they are really have the disease.
That's not the word, had the disease. Genetics was going to help them prove that they were, the word you said 2 minutes ago, predisposed to the disease. Okay, good. What is the verb that was used in this paragraph with, no, it wasn't used with the noun, but what is the verb that was used which means take someone to court? Is sue in this paragraph? Sue is a word you know. It's not a paragraph.
Charge.
What? With lawsuit. What is the verb with lawsuit?
Charge.
Charge.
No, you don't charge a lawsuit.
Okay.
Say it, man. File a lawsuit. There's filed in this paragraph. File a lawsuit. In which part of this text is there a solution for all of this?
In the first column.
Well, the paragraphs are not numbered, so we have a problem. First column on the left or the column on the right? A solution is suggested. Left? There's a solution on the left? Where, Fadi?
On the right.
On the right.
Okay, which paragraph? Burlington is paragraph number 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Fourth. Can you tell us what the solution suggested is, Betty?
Introducing
Discrimination is a new federal law that specifically prohibited
Okay. Can you explain it in your own words?
uh,
The only solution to this potential discrimination
to
is?
ban it and to
Okay. Prohibit it, ban it by law. Very good. By federal law. Okay. Now we have to stop here. It's Wednesday. I would like you, please, to skip the next page and answer the questions on page 166, true-false statements. Skip the next page that has discussion and composition and do the vocabulary from context on page 168. Okay? So the true-false statements and the vocabulary from context on page 168 for tomorrow. I think they were interested in the topic. They did their homework, they researched the definitions. The group work, I thought, went very well. I felt the idea, the question about finding the support was very, very relevant because an essay examination is coming up on Sunday. So I wanted them to see and find the support in the text. It's like I tried to integrate reading with writing and some grammar when they had to write questions, so I felt this was good. I felt they were responsive, except for one difficult student here, who is usually like this. But otherwise, I felt the group work went well because all of them were working. They were all contributing to the task. And I thought they were on task all the time. They were actively involved in what they were doing. They were on task, and it's like, I felt it did go well. There was no time wasted. We do a lot of group work. They enjoy doing group work very much. And I believe that they can learn from each other. And I felt it happening today. They were learning from each other. They were helping each other. So I don't believe that the teacher is the only person they can learn from. No, if they're kept actively involved, working together, they can learn from each other. It happens all the time. So I like doing group work. They enjoy doing group work. Sometimes if I don't do it in one class, they ask for it. Miss, let's work in groups. Now it becomes a problem if I'm doing a test and I really want to kind of, look at individual performance. Then it becomes a problem and they say, why don't we do it in groups? Believe me, sometimes I decide that if they are going to learn from each other, okay, and I switch and I say, fine, then do it in groups. Sometimes I do that, on the spot. I make the decision, go ahead and do it in groups because I feel they will learn from each other. But today, I must admit, I felt one group was stronger than the others. And I think I told them I shouldn't have put Dina with Kareem. We agreed on these groups yesterday. I changed. We don't have the same groups. No, we don't. Never. Sometimes they choose their own groups. So I choose 3 people and I say, now you choose your group, each of the 3. Sometimes I do it. Sometimes they get into their own groups and it's fine with me. But yesterday, I think to save time, I asked them. And I made the lists of the 4 groups. I thought it would save time. As soon as they come in, they know in which group they are and not waste time deciding who was with who. But I put Dina with Kareem, and they're the 2 best. I won't do it again. They choose their groups. They choose reading articles that they can bring. But at the beginning of the lesson, I told them this time I had to choose the scientific article because the ones you chose were not so, they themselves weren't. I kind of felt they just chose the first article they found on the internet and that was it. But it's kind of, I even asked them. I showed them to them last week and I said, do you really want to read this? So, but they can choose the articles. They can choose when to do a test, when we're ready at the end of a theme or a unit, and we have all of that vocabulary. They choose when they want to do the test. What other choices can they make? Sometimes it's an optional assignment, and they choose whether they want to do it or not. And believe me, when it's optional, they do it. And when it's an assignment for tomorrow, a few of them won't do it. We give a lot of homework, I must say, because we believe that exposure is extremely important. So it's in the morning for 5 hours and at least 3 hours in the afternoon. They're not very happy with this. So I give them choices. So it's like some assignments are optional. We have a grammar book. They can choose whether for the 12 o'clock class they want to do grammar or essay writing. We're supposed to do 1 hour of grammar and 1 hour of writing, but I feel it's much better to do 2 hours of essay, 2 hours of grammar the next day. So they can choose whether they're ready to write the essay tomorrow or the day after. This is okay. From the beginning of the semester, I talked a lot about reading skills. and strategies that good readers use. They come from schools where they were not encouraged to read enough, and they don't come with the reading skills they need in AUC. We are aware of this. They don't read enough, and they don't have the skills or the strategies. So I talked a lot about it at the beginning of the semester. If you notice, when I talked about making inferences, guessing meanings of words, I was going to go into finding the clue that helped them guess the meaning of a word, but we didn't have time. But I will go into this tomorrow. So it's like, I think that awareness and consciousness raising is extremely important, right? So I raise consciousness all of the time, and I say, what is a good strategy? But you know, when they suggested different strategies to complete the task, I accepted them all. Fine, wonderful. If it works with you, great. Except for the group, you know, he was joking when he said one person reads and the others wait. So yes, consciousness raising, I think, is extremely important. I talked to them about skills. This is why they said scan, skim. So they mentioned skimming, they mentioned scanning, they talked about making inferences, and I was glad that they know that these are good reading skills they're required to have.
Good.
They can learn from each other, and they can assess each other, and they become aware of what is good and what is not good by seeing each other's work. We do it in the essay class. We do a lot of peer editing in the essay class. But they have a focus on content only. How good is the content, and how can this writer improve the content, or focus on proofreading, editing, because this is a skill that you need to edit and proofread. But they usually don't have time. They complain that there's no time to proofread the essay, which is why there are so many language mistakes. But when they read each other's essays, especially after the last exam, I said exchange essays and read them. This is why this essay got a 4 for content, or a 3 for language use, or a 4.5 for vocabulary. Read it. It's good to read your peers' work. They learn from each other, definitely. I prefer that they all win. Or they're the same, you know. The definitions, they were fine and all of that, but it's kind of, I like it when they all win. I think it's very important. So it's like everybody has a role. Everybody has the chance to stand up and speak, to represent the group, to read out what they've written. And I think they enjoyed it. They were okay. So it's true they can choose in their group, but I wanted to make sure that everybody got the chance to stand up in front of the class and share their work. It's important, I think. I wanted to read about science. They've had enough. The last unit we were doing was about education. The one before was about the environment. The one before was about the 20th century and beyond. So it's like they were mostly in the humanities, I think. And I felt that now we want to read about science, talk about science, and I think the change was interesting for them. We just finished the unit on education, and it's like education, education, enough. Yeah, you know, I'm not quite sure I understand the meaning of gene mapping. They had these complicated definitions, right? But I think I understand enough. We are going to go on to talk more about it tomorrow. So I will check the assignment I gave them, and then we will definitely talk more about how each one feels about this genetic revolution, and if they are for knowing one's genetic history or against. As a matter of fact, the next activity was going to be about this, but I didn't have time, so I'm keeping it for tomorrow. So I prepared the pros and cons chart about knowing your genetic history, and individually they can fill out the chart and then get together into groups and kind of agree on whether they're for or against knowing your genetic history. But I agree with you, it is a cultural thing. It's interesting. But they do have opinions. This is also to prepare them for the essay we're going to start after the next exam, which is argumentation. So it's kind of, I want to make them aware of the fact that they need to know the list of pros and cons in order to be able to write an argumentative essay. So I'm linking it to writing. So we will do this activity tomorrow. We didn't have time today. It's good to be over-prepared.